Welcome to another edition of the Insider Mailbag. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the Mighty Joe Yeager. Mighty Joe, man, another gorgeous day here in Lubbock. We've gotten so much rain, so everything's green, everything's clean, and I'm enjoying it. I don't know about you, but I'm trying to get out and enjoy it all I can. We got the boy giving swimming lessons. Just took him to a water park earlier this week, man. Just really trying to enjoy being outside and enjoying this great weather.
Yeah, I almost remember swimming lessons in water parks. But yeah, it's there's some humidity in the air out here. This is I ain't gonna say it's Austin or anything like that, but by Lubbock standards, it's a little bit sticky out here.
Yeah, it's sometimes when it gets humid out here, I'm like, man, oh, this is terrible. But then I go back to like a truly humid place like the Metroplex. I'm like, where you can't breathe. I'm like, okay, it wasn't ever really that humid out there. All right, but we have some great questions from y'all, so we're going to dive into them. First one comes from Texas Tech in Colorado. He says he wants to know if everyone showed up. It was move-in day last weekend, summer school starting. A lot of the football and basketball players were due to arrive. I was mostly checking into football, and I tell you what, I got a list here of some guys who aren't here yet, but that are expected to be here, okay? All-purpose back Alante Brown hasn't moved in yet, but he's also expected. And then defensive back Alex Hogan, same thing. All right, Texan wants to know about preferred walk-on Chuks Nwabuku. How fast is he, and does he tip the scales at 150 pounds? Yeah, he's a fast guy. He's been clocked at under 4.5 before. Yeah, he was an all-purpose back out of Hutto. Yeah, I think he's going to be mostly a return man for you here, Joe. Really quick, shifty guy, but he is really, I mean, he is small. He makes some of the smaller guys, he's like Jakeem Small. All right, but he's also really quick. I'm not prepared to say he's as quick as Jakeem because that's one of the quickest dudes I've ever seen, like ever. But he's up there, and to get him as a preferred walk-on is a huge get. He is a very productive guy as a receiver, as a running back, and a return man for Hutto. So I like him. That's cool. He did move in this last weekend. All right, Recycler wants to know, does Tech have the best basketball, baseball, and track and field coaches in the country? Now, I don't know if he means like the combination, because I think if you look at the combination, there is no debate. Yeah. They do. But does Tech actually have the best basketball player, and then, or basketball coach, and then the best baseball coach, and then the best track and field coach? I'm just going to go ahead and say Wes Kitley is one of the top three in track. So let's just say yes on him. We're biased. We're Tech homers. We'll say yes on Kitley. Let's go to basketball.
Yeah, well, Chris Beard, let's just put it this way. I think if you if you did a survey of every D1 athletic director, and you said if money was no object, if you could get any current D1 head coach to come and coach your basketball program, who would it be? I think Beard wins that.
I think him and Jay Wright. I think those two guys.
Exactly.
I mean, like right now, today.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, there are coaches out there who have more skins on the wall because they've been around a lot longer than Beard. They've had more opportunities. But I mean, if you're looking in the frame of the last 5 years, nobody is coaching better than Chris Beard. Nobody. I mean, Jay Wright is right there with him, of course. But I mean, you got to go back to what he did at Arkansas Little Rock. Sure. I mean, that's just people overlook that because Arkansas Little Rock. But I mean, that was the sign right there. I mean, that was an indicator right there that was a very special coach. Okay, so right now he's just coaching as well as anybody in the game. So I mean, if you're looking at it from that standpoint, as opposed to the long term of having national championships and all these Final Four, you can't compare with Coach K or Calipari or even Bill Self, Boeheim, people like that. But in terms of the younger coaches, and that's another thing to consider. He's in the prime of his career, probably on the upswing still. Right. Yeah, so I mean, this is a guy who's got 20 plus good years of coaching ahead of him. So I mean, who wouldn't love that? So I think that's what I got to say about Beard.
All right, so Beard will check then. Kitley check. Tadlock. I mean, they've won 3 Big 12 championships in the last 4 years. He's on the verge of taking them to their 4th College World Series in 6 seasons. He's only been here 7. He basically had 2 bad years, and the rest have been like not just good but outstanding seasons. So I don't know if he's the best right now, but he's got to be amongst the top 5, right, Joe?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, nobody's doing a better job. I don't know if anybody's doing an equal job of getting his team to the World Series on a regular basis. I think they're going again. I really do. All right, so if that happens, you know, what it just comes down right now is just winning the thing. You know, if he does that, then I think you say, okay, Tadlock's your guy.
So we'll say close, but incomplete with Tadlock. What do you? I mean, just because let's see how the rest of the season plays out. If they win the title, then yeah, because I think you could go look at programs like Florida. I think before this year they had hosted 4 straight regionals, but Tech is the only team that, as of this season, that had hosted 4 straight regionals, the last 4 regionals. So, whew, man, the consistency is just something to behold with Tadlock. So, like you said, if he can get that title, or even get to that final series, you know, man, that I would go a long way towards cementing his status as the top coach in the country. This is a good question. Red Raider Fan 01 wants to know, with all the recent success of Texas Tech sports in terms of all the spring sport, really every sport except football, does that put pressure on the coaching staff, Coach Wells and the football program? You know, actually, Coach Wells was on our radio show on Friday, and my co-host Pete Christie asked him just that question. And Wells said what you'd expect, that nobody puts more pressure on themselves than those coaches. But I gotta tell you, most times I would say that, nah, this probably isn't a thing, but I do believe this is a thing, because every comment is like, Texas Tech athletics is the best, other than football, other than football, other than football. Now, right now, they haven't coached a season, so it's not really on them. But next year, if they struggle, it'll be like, the football, but you know, it still sucks. The rest of the program is great. I think it's a real thing, Joe.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny because as I was looking at this question earlier on, I was formulating what I was going to say. I was going to say, listen, if you ask Coach Beard or Coach Wells this question, he's going to give you that stuff about nobody puts more pressure on ourselves. That outside pressure is nothing compared to what we put on ourselves. And sure enough, you confirm it. But yeah, and then I agree with the rest of what you said. Look, nobody wants to be the weak link, you know, in the chain here. And the football program is right now. And now, again, like you said, that's not on Wells, but you can be sure he's feeling, you know, dragging up the hindmost there, and he doesn't want to be hanging out there for too long because, yeah, you just look bad by comparison to everybody else. Well, all those other coaches can do it. How come you can't do it? You know, and, you know, if you think that doesn't get under his saddle blanket, a burr under his saddle blanket, you're wrong. Particularly a guy like him who's kind of a little bit chippy anyway.
He is. He's
you know,
feisty.
so he doesn't want to be hearing that stuff. So yes, I think that's a real deal, and there's pressure.
He's feisty. I think he's savvy in terms of either he or whoever is in his camp, they seem to know what's going on. Like if you mention something to them, like with the rest of the program, they know. They just get a lot of they get it more than I say than maybe recent football staff. So he knows how the fan base is perceiving football compared to the rest. So this is a thing. It's going to be a thing until they start winning. Not only that, but until they start winning on the recruiting trail. Because all those other programs are not only winning, it's amazing how that works, right? But they're not only winning on the field, but they are crushing it. They're all amongst the best in the conference in recruiting. So they're going to have to step up on both on and off the field. Another question comes from Tech Freak, our bud up in Minneapolis, who wants to know our super regional prediction. Texas Tech hosts Oklahoma State for a 3-game series this weekend, starting Friday. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if necessary. Bottom line is, Joe, the winner goes to Omaha.
I don't think Sunday is going to be necessary.
Whoa, all right.
You know, I think
for Tech, right?
For Tech. Yep, I think Tech's going to sweep. I think you're going to be looking at a couple of low-scoring games. I mean, that's the way the trends work right now. And now, as I say that, sometimes it all just goes out the window, and suddenly you got a 14-15 game or something like that. But based upon what we're seeing right now, I think you're looking at a couple of low-scoring games. Probably neither team. I don't know if they're going to be cracking the 5-run mark on these deals. And you may see a shutout, you know, by Tech again. They did it against Dallas Baptist. And Dallas Baptist, let me tell you right now, it's a salty hitting lineup that they got out there. And to be able to shut those guys down the way they did was very, very impressive. And they did the same thing against Oklahoma State in that earlier series. So, I mean, the beat should go on, you know, and I think Tech is going to get that sweep. Joe,
you mentioned in our super preview that ran earlier this week, Oklahoma State has struggled on the road a little bit
Yes.
compared to how they played at home. And obviously, Texas Tech has dominated Oklahoma State, not just this year, but last season. So there could be a psychological advantage. And then Tech's playing at home, just what that does for them at the sold-out, feisty Law, who, let's face it, Tech fan base doesn't have a lot of love for the Oklahoma State fan base. So, you know, as they shouldn't as Big 12 rivals. So I think Texas Tech wins. I don't know if I'm prepared to say sweep, but you may very well be right. I do think the Red Raiders will beat Oklahoma State, whether it takes 2 or 3 games, and they'll go to their 4th College World Series in 6 seasons, which is an amazing accomplishment. But Mighty Joe, that's it for today. Great stuff from you as always. Great questions from y'all, and thanks for watching.